Before we get started on the Dharma talk, please join me in invoking Buddha's name 3 times. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Good afternoon, beautiful people. I was going to do a Q&A session today, but I am dependent on the assembly. So if you have any pressing questions that you have to know, you can answer it. Otherwise, I will try to give you an advanced teaching today. No pressing questions? I will give my thoughts or to give a teaching that I have not given in a few years. And to be quite honest, one that I have been avoiding to teach, but I feel like this is an appropriate time to teach it. However, I will not go through it fully, mostly because I don't have time. And also, I just don't really want to. So, it's been a surprise of what I want to teach. Does anybody remember what this teaching is? Don't be psychic. Samyojana. Does anybody remember what samyojana is?
I know yojana means planning. Samyojana means like equal planning or something.
10 fetters. So, who wants to give me the list of the 10 fetters? It's number 10. Let's try to go in order.
Identity.
Self-view. Next.
Doubt.
Skeptical doubt.
Rites and rituals.
Next.
Sensual desire. To what?
Sorta. Oh well.
Restlessness.
These are the 10 fetters. Self-view, Sakaya Ditti, skeptical doubt, Vichichaka, attachment to rites and rituals, Siddhabhata Pramasa, sensual desire, Kamachakanda, ill will, Vyapada, the attachment to being reborn in the form realm, Ruparaga, and attachment to being born in the formless realm, Aruparaga, conceit, mana, restlessness, Vidacha, and ignorance, Avijja. What are the 10 fetters? Looking at this list, what is the idea behind these 10 fetters?
These are barriers.
Barriers to what?
To reach happiness and nirvana.
I'm sorry, say again. Yes, these are a barrier, the hindrances, the concepts that hold us back from attaining enlightenment or seeing the true nature of reality. So I obviously won't go through all 10 because I can't speak for at least half of them. But for at least the first 3, I will attempt to go through them for the next couple of weeks while I'm still here before I leave on my retreat. So the first one, self-view, Sakaya Ditti. Well, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. These 10 fetters are the obstacles to our enlightenment, right? So the eradication of these fetters allows to get rid of the necessary, get rid of these obstacles in order to become enlightened. And so in our practice, as we start to eradicate and eliminate these fetters, we start to achieve higher levels of enlightenment, right? And so in traditional Buddhism, I guess the Orthodox version in Theravada, the highest attainment that one can achieve is arhatship, right? Full enlightenment. Arhatship, however, is only attained by the full eradication of all 10 fetters. However, there is 4 levels of enlightenment. The very first one is Sotapadana, stream enter, which is the eradication of the first 3 fetters. The second level of enlightenment is Sakadagamin, which is the weakening of fetters 4 and 5. Anagamin, third level enlightenment, is the eradication of 4 and 5. And then Arahatship, full enlightenment, is the eradication of the last 5. So 1 and 3 is first level Sotapanna. The eradication of the 3. Second is Sakadagamin. And Anagamin. Now, there is a state of partial enlightenment prior to this, prior to Sotapanna. I don't have space to write it, but it's called Chulapanna, Chula Sotapanna. Which literally means a person who is near enlightenment of Sotapanna. Basically, anyone who has eradicated at least one of the 3 fetters can be considered a Chulapanna. Chula Sotapanna. So, self-view. What is self-view? Self-identity. Yes, sir.
The belief that we have an independent self is separate from everything else.
Correct. So it's a deep-seated belief that there's a permanent, enduring essence called me or mine, right, within this body and mind of ours. So it operates by identifying with the body, that this is me, identifying with feelings, like I'm sad, I'm happy, and identifying with thoughts, that I am what I think, basically, right? But self-view, unfortunately, makes us defensive and fearful and reactionary, because we believe in something that's fragile and impermanent, must be protected, right? Or the self-view, the self-identity that we have. But as we dig deeper and look closely as to what self-view or self-identity is, right? This isn't just a philosophical error necessarily. It is wrong view, right? If we remember the Eightfold Path, our first path is right view, right? Meaning seeing clearly and understanding clearly the nature of reality, the nature of things as they are. So self-view is the exact opposite. It's wrong view, right? Taking what is impermanent and conditioned as I or mine. And that is the root cause of our clinging, right? And ultimately our suffering. There's kind of 2 parts to this first fetter. There's self-view and there's non-self, right? So self-view is Sakaya Ditti, whereas non-self is Anatman, right? So they kind of go together. They're related, but they're not exactly the same. Because self-view is an illusion that I am this, right? It's conceptual. It's a story that we tell ourselves of who we believe we are, who we want ourselves to be, who we want others to see us as, et cetera, et cetera. What kind of self-views do we have of ourselves? What are some common ones that you have? Well, think of identity. How do you see yourself how do you identify yourself?
I am blank.
I am blank.
This thing.
What else?
I am XYZ.
But what do you do to portray that to the world?
It's the persona that we project, the mask that we wear, the stuff, the clothing that we wear, the makeup, the way that we do our hair, the way that we speak, the things that we buy, the cars we drive, the
Absolutely.
words, the way that we express ourselves.
Exactly. And so the self here is just a collection of impermanent mental and physical phenomena, right? That arise and cease moment by moment. And this collection of phenomena we call the five aggregates, the five skandhas: form, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. In Buddhism, these five aggregates is what collectively create our being, our person, our personality, right? Because the form is just our physical body. That's the first thing we identify with ourselves is our body, right? Just like Michelle just said, you identify yourself with how you dress, how you do your hair, how you do your makeup, how you perceive yourself to the world. There's also the sensations, the feelings, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, right? We spoke of this in our class yesterday. And then our perception, which is the mental labeling that we give to things. And then mental formation, which is our thoughts and our opinions and emotions and attitudes. And then, of course, consciousness, which is the awareness of our sensory and mental experiences. But if we have this belief in this permanent self, right, that's a source of suffering because it leads to attachment, to craving, and to aversion. And so when we believe in a permanent self and we identify with our experiences, possessions, relationships, and we cling to them as if they were a part of ourselves, then this attachment leads to more craving, more possession, more relationships, and an aversion toward those that threaten that self-identity. Because what happens when someone insults you, for an example? Our first reaction is to defend this being that's being insulted, right? But who are you protecting? Where is this person that you're protecting? It's illusory. You want to be liberated? I can do that. But give me yourself. Give it to me. I'll liberate it for you. Can you give it to me? You can't just do that.
You have to find it first.
You have to find it first. But we attempt to find this through the five aggregates. We believe that this body is me. The thoughts and feelings that we have is me. That the perceptions that we have, our ideas, our biases, our discriminations, our likes and dislikes, all these we believe it's me. But in reality, there's no core essence in there kind of running the show. Right? If there is, that's what I want you to hand me. That's what I can liberate for you. There's no little machine, gadget, little man inside of your body doing all the controls. Isn't there a movie like that? I feel like there's a movie like that. Little alien inside of a body. All the controls. Anyway. So that's essentially our practice, right? Is to overcome that illusion of self by cultivating insight and wisdom into that nature of reality. So the first three fetters are all related to view, vitti, right? This is the view in the sense of how we view the world, right? It's more than just opinions and belief. It's the intrinsic way that we hold our understanding of the world. And the attachment of the attainment of the first stage of enlightenment of Satipatthana is in essence the purification of view, right? The opening of our Dharma eye. And so as stream enter, they're able to transcend the idea of self on the level of view. Because again, self-view and non-self are slightly different. Because self-view here is concerned with our identity, our personality, how we perceive ourselves, how we want others to perceive us. Whereas non-self is the ability or the realization to see that there is no self in anything, internal and external. It has more or less to do with the concept of emptiness.
Like self-view is the problem and that's the remedy.
Yes, yes. So self-view is essentially the issue, the problem, right? And non-self is the remedy. Yes, that's correct. And so but they're both interrelated. They have to be, right? There are times where we can realize one before the other, right? Typically realizing non-self comes first. Because identity is something that, though is ingrained in us, right? Because now you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 100 years old, right? Your identity is something that has been ingrained within your very essence since the day you were born. And so you would think that this is something difficult to eradicate, to get rid of, right? Because how can you say that my identity, my name, my personality is an illusion? But what is the illusion? What is the illusion of self-view?
The entire thing.
Why?
It's just an idea.
Because it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. It is a concept that is made up, essentially, right? Your entire identity is made up. Because identity is the labels we say, this is who I am. I'm a doctor, I'm a teacher, I'm a husband, I'm a wife, I'm a CEO, I'm an activist, I'm gay, I'm straight, I'm trans, I'm this and that. All these different identities are prescribed upon yourself from yourself. That's one, right?
So what are you if you're not any of those things?
That's a great question.
It's like I see it as a particle of sense, and each particle is treating like family and because they're all part of sense. So we are particles, and we work in the what's called together. So it's all human being is all just like it's part of. We are not independent individual. That's what I do.
Right, because our entire being is just a process, right? It's just all processes of change. Sorry, it's all changing processes, right? So to say that I'm a permanent being cannot be correct. That's the fault here, is to think that you're unchanging, that you are permanent. But that can be true, because your body obviously changes, right? You grow up, you get sick, you're eventually going to die. That can't be permanent. That can be self. Your feelings change all the time. You have pleasant, unpleasant, neutral feelings all the time that come and go. That's not permanent. That's not unchanging. So that can't be self. Your perceptions, your ideas of things change all the time, right? What you thought you knew 10 years ago may have been different today. Your opinions about things, maybe you've liked something in the past, now you don't like it, or vice versa, right? Your mental formations, the labels, the ideas that you have change. And then even consciousness changes. Consciousness is what? Just the awareness of reality. That can change. Because yesterday you can be unenlightened, but today you're enlightened. That's changing. And so if all these processes change, and where is the self? Where are you? Right? This is not nihilism. It's not to say that you do not exist. This is clarity. This is freedom from seeing that you are not all these different things. Make sense?
Yeah, it's like I can see that as a part of that, like from birth to death, we change so many form. And that's very related short period of time. If we compare with the universe, all other being and all other solid things here, it's really a very small fraction of time if we do the theory of relativity. But if you look at the, like after we die, we change it to 5 elements or what they call in Buddhist philosophy, water and dust and water, earth, sky, and the air. So you go on, and the body is just going to particles, right? So the physical body, the conscious body is still conscious, not body, consciousness somehow transformed. It has formed energy and gets reborn and things like that. So the things we are essentially part of dust.
Go back to the elements.
I see it as
So the Buddha says here that non-self doesn't mean that you don't exist at all, right? It means that there is no unchanging essence called me. So when we see this, we're able to hold things more lightly, right? We don't cling so tightly to pride or to fear or to even suffering, right? Because we see that there's just passing processes. They're not who you really are. Because then most of us assume that there's a solid I, right? Like I said earlier, in our center of experience, that there's someone who thinks, who feels, who chooses, who suffers, who owns this life, right? Quang Tri's making these decisions. Quang Tri's speaking right now. Quang Tri's up here sitting at a chair teaching. Where is Quang Tri? Who is Quang Tri?
it's a label in my mind.
It's a label in my mind and in your mind, right? So we need to look.
And with respect to time and place, also like you look at the very short period of time. So it could be really stacking in the whole life period.
Mm-hmm.
So if you calculate from that point of view, it just doesn't exist.
Because you can think of it this way. Up until now, there's been a million, billion versions of you, of me, that's been there since the day you were born. Which means there's going to be a million, billion versions of you continuously in the future too, right? So if there's a million versions of you, that means we have the opportunity to change, right? This is also, we read and hear and listen a lot in Buddhism about birth and death, right? It's all about birth and death. But what does birth and death mean?
Rearrangements of the physical elements of your body.
And mind.
And mind, because the mind goes with the body, yes.
Not just that, but when we speak of birth and death, we're not always, depending on the context, but majority of the time, it's not a physical birth and death. It is a mental birth and death. Because every thought you have that arises is a birth of a thought, right? It endures as you think it, and then when the thought goes away, it dies. That is what we mean by birth and death. So we are birthing, we are being born and dying all the time, hundreds, thousands of times a day. So if you're being born and you're dying hundreds or thousands of times a day, then where are you? Who are you? Where is this person that's supposed to be truly alive when in reality you have died and come back hundreds, thousands of times? Yes.
This one?
Thank you. So one of the ways that I was seeing it in my mind right now is kind of like, in order for something to be born within me, the old version of me has to die. So the old ideas of who I once was needs to go away in order for something else to be born. I kind of see it like a little Russian nesting doll thing. And then like something else is born within me. What I thought that I knew, that eventually needs to go away. And it's just like the shedding, like upon layer of everything that I thought that I was, and it goes You get, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like this huge shell of the self, and then eventually it just gets to the essence.
Right.
And to Vinny's point, if we go all the way down to cellular level, atomic level, subatomic level, if we go all the way down, we're just vibrations.
Right.
Just
but even our cells in our body die and come back. Right?
And it's like we're talking about ultimate death, but in the lifetime, and forget about lifetime, even breath, we take in, we breathe in, it dies immediately within like, so each breath is born and die. And if you look at the skin, that dies every like couple of years, or like whole skin changes, all organs like liver, within 7 years it regenerates itself. So whole body, they say, the science figure out this changes, this gets reborn every 7 years.
Right.
So who are we? This is just the physical death of, because we are changing so rapidly, so we are not the same person like a few seconds after, even after the next breath.
Right. Yes. We're constantly shedding. Shedding skin, shedding hair, shedding thoughts, opinions, beliefs, right? Likes and dislikes. I was speaking with Michelle last night, right? Think of when you're in a situation where we're talking about masks, right? We put on masks all the time, right? When you are with your family, you have a certain type of personality mask. When you're at work, you have a certain type of personality mask. When you're at the temple, you have a certain personality mask. When you're by yourself, you have one, right? And so if you have all these different masks that you wear, then who is you? And then when you're with people who are what's a nice word? It's a PG word. When you are with people or with someone that goes kind of against the personality that you're wearing, that you have, right? Our normal reaction to that is aversion, right? When someone makes you, when you feel uncomfortable, or when someone's doing something that you're just not in the mood for, or you don't like, or don't agree with, right? All this is a type of aversion because their personality isn't meshing with our personality. But the problem, if you really think about it, the problem isn't them and their likes or dislikes or what they're doing to make you feel uncomfortable. The problem is within you.
Because we are full fake identity and showing off the other person. But they can see that this guy is fake. Because we are showing off, then okay, this is like old fake identity like 100 years ago. We're still thinking that like, okay, we are like young, vibrant, athlete or whatever.
Right.
And they recognize this guy is just some old jerk here, like kick off.
Yes, sir.
Is that an aversion to death? When you're with someone that present self is you don't feel comfortable with, like you don't want that self to die, so maybe that's where we have an aversion to that person.
You don't, it's not necessarily that self you want to die. It's kind of going back to expectations, right? Because you have an expectation of your own identity. If you have an expectation of, I'm this professional, serious person all the time, and you're with someone who's just always joking, who's just nonchalant, who's whatever, you're like, that person isn't the person that I want to be with or associate with, or whatever it may be, right? And so there's an aversion to those qualities that you don't have. Those qualities don't really exist. They too come and go, right? Because if you're averse in that moment, right, you can either do one of several things. One, you can just ignore it, right? And dislike it, which is the aversion. 2, you can accept it and let it go. Like, it is what it is. They're like that, I'm like this. There's no room for judgment, right? This is 8th fetter, conceit, right? Conceit means comparison, right? So you're comparing how they are to how you are, and how you want them to be different than how you are. You want the situation to be different. You want them to treat you different, to act different, to speak differently, right? Or vice versa. Go ahead, I'm contemplating.
So when we feel aversion, the antidote for the aversion is we can map it to one of the fetters, right? I mean, that's the purpose of this. So like we're caught in an ego trip, and we catch ourselves. We can say, oh, that's the root of that suffering is the sense of myself-view, right?
Correct.
So they kind of match all the different suffering, mental sufferings we get into, don't they?
Yes. Because if you think about aversion in identity view, right? If you're with someone, you're only averse because you're trying to protect. But then you have to ask yourself, what am I protecting? What are you protecting? If you're with someone that makes you uncomfortable, why? Is what they're doing, saying, or thinking, or whatever it may be, truly what's making you uncomfortable? Or is it something within you that is flawed?
Your perceptions and judgments.
Correct, right. Yes.
And I think that from this point of view, other sentiments or the family patterns or all these things that make you go in the line, like all this stuff, and you feel so free.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a letting go of the control. And you are yourself.
That's what is called harmony. If we are Ashwani, then
The realization of self-view is to let go of the false idea of control, right? Because in reality, you don't have any control. You don't have control of your body. You don't have control of your feelings. You don't have control of your mental formations. You don't have control of your perceptions. And you don't have control of consciousness. If you did, you'd be the master of it, right? You can't control your body aging or getting sick. You can't control the thoughts coming and going. They just come and go, right? Ideas come and go. Your perception of things, perception, mental formation, consciousness, all these things we believe we have a sense of control over, which gives us this false sense of power, which is why we believe that this is me, this is who I am. I do have control. I do have control of what I think. I do have control of what I say. I do have control of what I do. Do you? Because if you did, you wouldn't be suffering in life. Right? We all suffer, yes? So understanding, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'll just take one moment.
I just wanted to say, in reply to what he said, is it kind of like when not willing to die in that moment? And I was thinking, I can see that perspective because let's say like I'm having a conversation with somebody and I have huge aversion to whatever it is they're doing. What I can do in that moment is rather than doing what I know normal to do, which is maybe argue or maybe sigh really loud or storm off or wrestle through things really loudly to show somebody that I'm frustrated or something is I can do nothing. Mm-hmm. And I can die to that self in that moment by not feeding it energy. And then later I can go into meditation and then review like what is it that was coming up in that moment. I can see clearly that it's driven by that behavior, that aversion that I was having was driven by character defects and vices and all of those things. So it's not even me.
Right. It's not you. Because if we're able to understand non-self, right? Again, non-self is an insight. It is the I just said this earlier. Remedy. Right? Non-self is the remedy to our flawed view of self. So it's the insight of, this is not me. This is not myself, right? Non-self is non-self is experiential, whereas self-view is conceptual. So something that you can conceptualize and kind of think of and attain in that way. But non-self is experiential. We have to experience that non-self, right? And so if we're able to look at that, if we're able to look at our own experience, right, then we literally can't find a solid, unchanging self. What we do find is just a process, a stream of causes and conditions, right? So if there's a stream of causes and conditions, meaning that's reliant on other things, then where is your permanent self? Think of a car, right? We give the car the label of a car because it's constructed, right? If you look at the individual pieces, the frame, the engine, the battery, the wiring, the interior, there is no car in those things by themselves, right? So we're the same way. We're made up of all different pieces. So if I shoved my hand through your chest and pulled out your heart, which is an important piece to be alive, are you still you? If I took out your lungs, your kidneys, if I took out pieces of you, I sound like a murderer or something, but took out pieces of you and chopped you up, then where are you? Who are you?
Same as you were before you got chopped up, right? I mean, you're in a different physical form, but
right.
It's not like you are self and then you're not a self.
Right. But conceptually, at what point do we cease to be ourselves? How much body parts do I have to take out before I stop being Quang tree?
You never stop being even if they tell you up on set still be person. You never go away.
Do you?
You pass away, but you will still be that person if you remember that as that person.
How long? That's the question, like how long? How many billion years? How many Earths? How many universe? And not only that, this is like time is very relative. So we think these 100 years are very long, or billion years are very long, but they are milliseconds for the universe point of view. So that's one thing. And second thing, I was going to say, like when we talk about the no self, only way you can see yourself if we separate our consciousness and then look down this our physical body, and like we can see ourselves as others see. And we can see, okay, this guy is same as all other guys, and then we see that's the no self. So then we are seeing ourselves maybe 20 feet or 100 feet high, and like it's through the consciousness, and say, okay, this is another particle right there. It's the same guy. This looks like same. This looks like same. There's no difference. It's like looking at the dust. So I just like to keep giving example dust because that's very easy to say. But the consciousness, which is something has energy, and it has to have all these things we talk about. Good, what we like, 8 noble paths. That goes with the consciousness. So.
But we also can't even say even when you get chopped up, you can't say that person still exists. If you do, what does that tell you? That there's attachment. Right? There's attachment to this being. And so even when you stop existing, even when you die away, right? You'd be like, oh, you're still alive in memories. But even memories are impermanent. So if memories are also impermanent, is that still correct? Is that still true? Because memories can only last for so long, right? Let's say you have children, so your children remember you when you die, and your grandchildren remember you when you die, your great-grandchildren remember you, but eventually, in 3 or 4 generations, you're going to forget all about you. You don't exist anymore. So to them, you never even existed. So what's the difference? Craziness, yes? Yes.
I might be nitpicky, but I'm just thinking of, I mostly understand everything you're saying. However, there's a small fragment that gnawing at. So when babies are there, they tend to have respond differently to stimuli. And the same two babies can have this different experience or respond differently to the same situation. I can see it with my sister and me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing, I know that we kind of grow out of our society, the self-view, but there's always something there that seems to, we respond differently to the same situation. So there's something there. That's what's gnawing at me. Do you know what I mean?
Leanne can answer.
Perhaps it comes from looking at things from 2 different perspectives, right?
No, I understand the perspective, I understand that, but people still, there's still, so you have, I don't know if it's in the karma part, where or the family that came before you, that developed something that starts you off.
Yes, genome.
So, because there's some babies who are more adventurous. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be out there, because I work with babies, so I've seen them, some of them are extra cautious from the start, you can see it, and some are not. I guess that's what gnaws at me. So some of them, I don't know, I see mostly all the work and agree with all that, but there's this bit that I've seen with my eyes that maybe I'm just perceiving it, I don't know. But you can see some are cautious and some are not.
Mm-hmm. I think that's more or less of a biochemical thing in the body and the mind.
What about flowers? Think about flowers and how they're all different colors and sizes, but flowers are flowers. So it's maybe one way of thinking about it is we're all just flowers. Some are tall, some are not so tall.
I still want to stick in the dust particle. Flowers is same thing, like same example we are giving, but flowers are dust particles other than, but we are
Genetics. All genetics.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, like, we're talking behavior,
right? Because a good example of that is twins.
Yeah, I have twins, and they're really
Exactly, right? So, who? Why are they? You would think twins are supposed to be identical beings. Right, genetically, or, I think it's genetically they're identical, right? But there's still two beings, 2 personalities.
Right, so they have different experiences, their conditioning might be slightly different. So if they were raised exactly in the same place and given the same stimulation, they might be more alike than they end up being in life, right? Because it's part of it comes from the genome. So it's nature and nurture, right? It comes from the genome, and then we're born with that genome, and all that we experience influences our genome, and then we pass that genome on.
So I think like we're talking, the whole lifetime span. Both have same similar property, both are born, both die, both are going to die around the same time frame. So that's the thing we have in impermanence. Like over a long period of time, what's their identity? If they are same. So in the sense like they are human being or whatever you want to call them, but they are going to live in this, they are impermanent. Why do we attach? Why do we suffer by attaching? Why do we judge them like this, like, or concept, sorry. Like why do we have to judge a person is superior or inferior? That's the thing we're talking about. So the identity, like self-view, oh, I'm this, she is inferior, I'm superior. That's the view, that's the view, So no self says, okay, no, we are all similar or same. We don't have to judge each other. We don't have to think we are superior, they are inferior, and that's what the right view is. Like we are all human beings, or all these are same or similar creatures. They are all are impermanent, have lived this lifespan, and their energy will evaporate and come back or whatever. And after the death, we will perish in 5 elements of air, water, earth. And
But also just go back and remember the Thích, right? The thing's view. So even the two twins having completely two different personalities are just your view. You're saying this baby is more adventurous than this baby. Well, to them, they don't know what adventurous and non-adventurous is. They don't know what adventurous and conscious is. That's just, it is what it is. We're the ones attaching and applying those ideas to what we're seeing. But those ideas and labels that you're attaching are potentially erroneous, right?
Perceive they did something that, oh, that I would be more cautious, so I start treating them like, oh, they're a cautious baby, and that's how I influence that.
That's how we all influence each other all the time.
Right? The other example I can give often is if we go outside and we all look at the same exact cloud, we're all going to see a different shape. We're all going to see something different. We're all looking at the exact same cloud. If we all have different ideas, then who's right? Who's wrong? The right answer is that we're all wrong.
in the doing of the process, most times the opportunity or like if you say this person, this sibling much better, the parents tend to say that, oh, this person do this. So you become what parents think. If they think this person does negative or something, oh, he's actually, or she is not. And that's how they become. It's a positive enforcement thing. But that's off topic.
Yes,
So when you love somebody, who you're loving?
when you love someone, who are you loving?
Just the idea, the perception, or that's emotion gets confusing.
Exactly, and that's a great question. Who do you love? What are you loving? Think of, are you married? Okay. Think of your significant other. Why do you love them? Just give me three things of what 3 things do you love about them?
Or I love you because you are the piece of the lake that I just put in my mind. Or because like all the clouds, I love the clouds, but all the time are moving, changing.
Exactly.
But I just love the concept. But when I get married with somebody, I love the humanity of how it works. I don't know.
When you love someone, we typically love the things that they do to make us feel good, right? And so you love them because they take care of you, they ask you how your day is, they cook for you, maybe they do the cleaning, right? You love the things that they do for you, exactly. But then take that all away. If they stop doing that, if they stop doing all those things that you love about them, do you still love them? But then where is the love? What are you attaching the love to? So this is a good way to see or to recognize that what you love isn't the person, it's your attachment to the things they do for you to make you feel good.
It's also an attachment to your concept of what that person is, of their self-love.
Right. Because you can love someone because, let's say they're a professional, they're an activist, they care about human rights, they care about animals, whatever, right? You like the labels. But do those labels make the person? Does me becoming a monk make me a person? Does me being a man make me a person? Does me being sarcastic and blunt make me a person? What is it that makes me a person? What is it that people like or don't like about me? Are those the things that make me me? No. Then where is me?
It doesn't exist in the way that you think it might.
Right. So it's
and also they don't exist because if you lose them, then you're going to be suffering. And that's because of attachment. You're whether they die or they leave you for whatever reason because you don't like it anymore because they're not doing anything for you. So that's again because of attachment and suffering. And when you see that they have no self either. So you don't suffer.
right. And there's nothing to attach to. And there's nothing to suffer from.
So what are you saying? If you're attached, are you saying not to love?
No. Love. Love all you want. Love is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
But you don't attach yourself to that person in a sense that when we are able to let go of attachment, then we have a sense of freedom, a sense of lightness. That way, if they hurt you, right, they insult you, it doesn't stab you as deep, right? If they die, the devastation doesn't hurt as much. Or when they cheat on you or lie to you or whatever it may be, all those things don't affect you in such a profound way, right? You can then at least acknowledge that what they did it. It happened, right? We can't go back and change it. We can't predict the future. It is what it is. So love them, but love them without that attachment, without clinging to who you want them to be. Don't attach to don't cling to your idea of how they should be, how they should treat you, how they should treat others, how they should live in the world. This is what causes the suffering. Because if all you think in your mind is, oh, my husband or wife should be faithful, they should treat me respectfully, they should do good things for me, they should provide or do this or do that. All these are ideas. These are made up concepts, right? This is what we attach to. This is what you love. You don't love the person.
So again, this comes love comes back to oneself again. Because when you love just one individual, that love is not the right love. You have to love everybody same way without attachment. So everybody you're loving in the same way. And is universal loving, that's without, so you think there's no self, and they have no self, so they are same or similar, and then that's the right view. That's why you're gonna go like no self view.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So love isn't a thing in itself, right? It's the love or what arises from interactions between people or sentient beings, right? So I love you, I'm feeling love for you right now, and I can go away and you're somewhere else now. When I was with them, I felt a certain way, but to say I'm in love, like it's some kind of permanent setting that you're in, that's not correct, right?
Well,
because feeling
the
concept of being in
love to be something of its own that we have to get.
Right.
Concept of selective love is judgmental, because when you're selecting we love this but not this.
That's desire.
That's judgmental. Like you're judging, saying, okay, we love this specific person, this guy, doing, like you explained, something in exchange. They are doing something for me, or something I'm going to get from them, or they're going to get from me, and that's the like transactional love.
True love is interaction between two conscious beings.
Self-conscious, yeah, self-conscious.
I can't love an inanimate object. I can like it a whole lot.
Then there's the I, there's the self-view.
If you love an inanimate object, it's going to break someday, and you don't love it. Right?
Yeah, that's the thing you're talking about. Self-view is like when I exist. That's the view will stay like, okay, yeah, I don't love somebody. That's the self-view. There's the I. And that I doesn't love this person anymore, or doesn't love, I don't love the rest of the human being but this person. That's the self-view. And that's very arrogant. And as well as superiority, inferiority, all the things, all the problems starts, the attachment. And then we lose this person, a so-called loving person, we lose him or we can like separate from them. Then all the suffering starts. Because we were loving just this person, except the whole and then we suffer more.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's say I reach the first level when I get rid of self-view. How can I love someone?
To love them without attachment.
If there's no self, if there's no difference between you and me, how can I love you?
You love yourself first.
A precondition of loving is that there's a self and there's another one.
Tell me what love means to you.
I don't know.
How would you explain love to a child?
I cannot define love, but I can say that it's something that needs two people. It needs myself. If I let go of myself, how can I love? And it's not rhetorical. I mean, I don't know the answer. I'm just asking because I think you know.
I think we're misinterpreting what we are referring to as love. Okay, because there's romantic love, and there's what's another word? It's opposite of romantic. Huh? Platonic love, right? Platonic love is just being able to love without conditions. Okay? Meaning that you don't have to provide for me to love you, right? Think of generosity. True generosity is giving without the expectation of return. So love is the same way. I'm going to love you whether you love me back or not. Because I care for you. I care for your well-being, I care for your happiness, I care for your health, your mental stability, I care for about your life. This is love.
But I need myself view. If I let go of myself view, then how can I love you? See what I mean?
Self-view is an identity.
Yeah.
Right? There's no identity in caring for you. If someone's about to walk in and shoot you, right? If I love you, I'm going to try to protect you. Not Quang, not this identity like, oh, I must help you because we're in the house.
But it happens every day. Like example, go to the hospitals. Like many doctors come see you, nurses come see you. You don't know anybody. They they love you or they take care of you, but they are doing something with love and compassion. So there is love, but they don't want anything. They don't want love.
I mean, because we have to say, it's over time. We have to say in a conventional way that a self exists, right? Because we can't say, "Oh, I don't exist," right? This is not what non-self is. It's not the non-existence of you. It is just the non-existence of a permanent, unchanging thing. But it doesn't mean I don't exist. Okay? And so when we're saying no self or no view or no identity, it's not that the being doesn't exist. It's the ideas, the thoughts, the attachments themselves don't exist. Okay? So it's not like an empty space loves another empty space, right? It's just a being that is a process of causes and conditions, Quang tree, loves another being that are a process of causes and conditions, you, okay? But there's no attachment to the being of Quang tree or the being of you. I'm not saying because I'm Quang tree, I love you. I'm not saying because I'm whoever is I love you. That's not the case.
So it would be fair to say, as impermanent as I am, and as impermanent as you are, is the love that we have now. So I love you as my teacher. Well, you're not going to be my teacher probably in a few years or a few decades.
Right.
So therefore, that's good. So in that sense, the love is possible.
Right.
Okay. So look at Mother Teresa's love, selfless and selflessness, and that's the love. I get it. Thank you.
Good. Congratulations. You got it. I don't mean that sarcastically. No, I mean legitimately. Yes.
Great question. Great question.
Okay.
We have a lot of skeptical comments.
Unfortunately, the skeptical Tao is totally different. No, actually, you're correct. Skeptical Tao, which is a good thing, right? Because it's questions like these that make you think, to make you contemplate. Because it's not the first and the last fetter are the most difficult to eradicate. Because the first fetter relies on all the other fetters to exist. But then the last fetter of ignorance relies on the eradication of all the prior fetters for it to exist. The formula, I guess not a formula, but just keep in mind in your everyday life, when you're thinking about yourself, right? Even when you wake up in the morning and you're putting clothes on, you can ask yourself, who's putting clothes on? Right? Who's getting ready? And every thoughts you have, every judgment you have, because we're all judging, who are you judging? Who is being judged? Who's the judger? Is that even a word? Right? If you don't like something or someone, why? It's not them. If you're uncomfortable, it's not them. If you're feeling angry, it's not them. If you love them, it's also not them. Right? These are difficult concepts. But when it's realized that this identity that we hold on to doesn't actually exist, you're able to let it go and just let things be. There's such an immense freedom in just letting it go. Like yesterday, I think it was yesterday, and I was telling Stephanie, I was like, I don't care. But I don't say I don't care in the sense that I'm uncompassionate, right? Not in the sense that I don't care for your well-being. I just don't care about how people think of me, how I think even of myself. It is what it is. You like me? Great. You don't like me? Even better. It's not my problem. Yes,
so
sir.
You're using the word eradicate with these. So the idea of eradication is that it will not ever occur again?
Correct. You're completely
Okay, so if we look at it that way, then if a lowly, normal human like me is wrestling with this, and sometimes I get that there's no self, and sometimes I'm lost in myself, and back and forth. That's the birth and death, isn't it?
correct.
Going back and forth between, okay,
Yep.
I got it, I don't got it, right?
Yep.
And then we finally...
Beautiful example of things that arise, endure, and cease. As long as that's happening, we're stuck in the cycle. But at least we can potentially clear approach to a Sutana. The person who's approaching enlightenment, first level enlightenment. Okay, you're so over time. You have beautiful questions. I loved every single one of them. for the most part. I'm just kidding, I love them all. But please join me in invoking the Buddha's name 3 times. We'll transfer the merit and go to chanting. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha Namo Shakyamuni Buddha Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. In positive karmic action we've accumulated here today, we wish to transfer the merit to all sentient beings and wish them full enlightenment. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Sorry, page 1. The incense in the censer now is burning, all the Dharma realm in every place, auspicious clouds appearing, our sincere intention thus fulfilled. As all Buddhas now show their perfect body, home issue the incense cloud canopy, Bodhisattva and gray Bodhisattva. In gratitude we offer this incense to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas throughout space, and may it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting our careful efforts, our wholehearted mindfulness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Home issue the eternally abiding Buddhas, the supreme Dharma and sagely Sangha throughout the Dharma realm and the realm of empty space and 3 periods of time. Home issue the fundamental teacher Shakyamuni Buddha Maitreya, honored future Buddha Manjushri, great wisdom Bodhisattva, universal great conduct Bodhisattva, all Dharma guarding Deva Bodhisattvas, and the glorious mountain assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. limitless Avalokiteshvara, great compassion Bodhisattva, great strength Bodhisattva, restore great vow Bodhisattva, and the assembly of great pure sea light Bodhisattva. The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of eons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. A pilgrim briefly in this world, I am grateful and joyful to hear the Lotus Sutra. How hard to be born a human again, but I might hope to hear once more the Lotus Sutra. The Buddha moon is hidden, the son of Maitreya Nayata is in the long night's darkness. In between, only the Lotus Sutra sheds its light. The wonderful Dharma of the Lotus Sutra. Whoever copies it, reads it, lives it, they say will be called preacher of the fivefold Dharma, with his 6 truths cleansed in that. He who chants the Lotus Sutra is guarded by a heavenly host. He wanders the world without fear like a lion. Namo Sadharma Pundarika Sutra, Namo Sadharma Pundarika Sutra, Namo Sadharma Pundarika Sutra. So to page 32, let's do one chapter today.
32.
32.
Chapter 4.
Namo Lotus Assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Namo Lotus Assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Namo Lotus Assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The Sutra of the Lotus of the Wonderful Law, Chapter 4, Belief in sea with quantities of gold, silver, seashell, agate, pearls, lapis lazuli, elephants, horses, oxen, goats, carts, and carriages, fields for farming, men, servants, grooms, and other people in great number, thousands and thousands, millions surrounded him and paid reverence. He enjoyed the constant favor and consideration of the ruler. Such was his vast wealth, a great power and influence he possessed. But as he grew old and decrepit, he recalled distress than ever, day and night, thinking of nothing else. Now the time of my death draws near. Over 50 years have passed since that foolish boy abandoned my storehouse is full of goods. What will become of them at this time? The impoverished son was searching for food and clothes, going from village to village, from country to country, sometimes finding something, other times finding nothing, starving and emaciated, his body broken out in sores and ringworm. As he moved from place to place, he arrived in time at the city where his father lived, shifting from one job to another until he came to his father's house. At the time, the rich man had spread a large old canopy inside his and was seated on a lion throne, surrounded by his dependents and various attendants and guards. The impoverished son, observing how women distinguished his father, was supposed he must be the king of a country or the equal of a king. Alarmed and full of wonder, he asked himself why he had come here. He thought to himself, if I linger here for long, I will perhaps be seized and pressed into service. Once this thought had occurred to him, he raced from the spot, inquiring where there was a poor village, went there in hopes of gaining employment. The rich man at the time, seated on his lion throne, saw his son in the distance and silently recognized who he was. Immediately he sent a messenger to hurry after and back the impoverished son, crying out in terror, sank to the ground in distress. This man has seized me and is surely going to put me to death. To think that my search for food and clothing should bring me to this. The rich man knew that his son was ignorant and self-abasing. He will never believe my words, will never believe I am his father. So he employed an expedient means, sending some other men to the son, a one-eyed man, another puny and unclothed, completely lacking in imposing appearance, saying, speak to him and tell him I will employ him to remove excrement and filth, and will pay him twice the regular wage. When the impoverished son was delighted and came with the messenger and worked to clear away excrement and filth and clean the rooms of the house from the window. The rich man would constantly observe his son, thinking how his son was ignorant and self-abased and delighted in such menial labor. At such times the rich man would put on dirty, ragged clothing, take in hand a utensil for removing excrement, and go to where his son was, using this expedient means to approach him, encouraging him to work diligently. I have increased your wages and giving you oil to rub on your feet. I will see that you have plenty to eat, and bring mats and bedding that are thick and warm. At times he would speak severely, you must work hard, or again he would say in a gentle voice, you are like a son to me. The rich man, being wise, gradually permitted his son and go in the house, and after 20 years had passed, he put knows our fondness for the petty, and so he never told you can attain Buddhahood. Instead, he explained to us how we could become free of outflows, carry out the lesser via, and be voice hearer disciples. Then the Buddha commanded us to preach the supreme way and explain that those who practice this will be able to attain Buddhahood. We receive the Buddha's teaching, and for the sake of the great Bodhisattva, made use of causes and conditions, various similes and parables, a variety of words and phrases to preach the hunter. The Buddha heard the law through us day and night. They pondered diligently and with effort, practicing it. At the time, the Buddha bestowed prophecies on them, saying, in a future existence you will be able to attain Buddha. Go to page 171. Heart of the Prajna Paramita, the Bodhisattva Avalokita, while moving in the deep course of Prajna Paramita, shed light on the five skandhas and found them equally empty. After this penetration, he overcame ill being, bliss, and Shadiput. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is not other than emptiness, emptiness is not other than form. The same is true with feelings, perceptions, mental formation, and consciousness. Listen, Shadiputta, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They are neither produced nor destroyed, neither defiled nor immaculate, neither increasing nor decreasing. Therefore, in emptiness there is neither form nor feelings, no perceptions nor mental formations, nor consciousness, no eye or ear or nose or tongue or body or mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realms of elements, no interdependent origin, no extinction of them, no ill-being, no cause of ill-being, no end of ill-being, and no path, no understanding, no attainment, because there is no attainment. The Bodhisattvas grounded in Prajna Paramita find no obstacles for their minds, having no obstacles. They overcome fear, liberating themselves forever from illusion and realizing perfect nirvana. All Buddhas in the past, present, and future arrive at Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore, one should know that perfect understanding is the highest mantra, the unequaled mantra, the destroyer will be the incorruptible truth. The mantra of Prajna Paramita should therefore be proclaimed. Gate, gate, pada, gate, pada, samgate, bodhi, swaha, gate, gate, pada, gate, pada, samgate, bodhi, swaha, gate, gate, pada, gate, pada, samgate, bodhi, swaha. Sentient beings are limitless. I vow to liberate them. Afflictions are endless. I vow to eradicate them. Teachings are infinite. I vow to learn them. Buddhahood is supreme. I vow to attain. I vow that from now until the end of my life and in all future lives, until I Bodhisattva, Namo Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, Namo Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, Namo Maitreya Bodhisattva, Namo Maitreya Bodhisattva, Namo Maitreya Bodhisattva, Namo Great Pure Sea like Bodhisattvas, Namo Great Pure Sea like Bodhisattvas, Namo Great Pure Sea like Bodhisattvas, Namo Deva guarding Bodhisattvas, Namo Deva guarding Bodhisattvas, Namo Deva guarding Bodhisattvas. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and of love. I take Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Dwelling in the refuge of Buddha, I clearly see the path of light and beauty in the world. Dwelling in the refuge of Dharma, I learn to open many doors on the path of transformation. Dwelling in the refuge of Sangha, shining light that supports me, keeping my practice free of obstruction. Taking refuge in the Buddha and myself, I aspire to help all people recognize their own awakened nature, realizing the mind of taking refuge in the Dharma. In myself, I aspire to help all people fully master the ways of practice and walk together on the path of liberation. Taking refuge in the Sangha and myself, I aspire to help all people build for full communities to embrace all beings and support their transformation. Reciting the sutras, practicing the way of awareness gives rise to benefits without limits. We vow to share the fruits with all beings. We vow to offer tribute to parents, teachers, friends, and numerous beings who give guidance and support along